Welcome back to NBU React. Today we're doing more wrestling with Andy.
Oh, this is on NBU Street Channel today.
Yeah.
You said back with NBU Reacts.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
My mistake.
But, shit. You can continue.
You gotta bring up the title.
Oh, yeah, it's the entire
history of the Elimination Chamber.
I thought you had seen it. My bad.
I didn't know if I was gonna word it wrong or not.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we're older than the Elimination Chamber.
Facts.
We can say that.
We are.
Came out when, I'm trying to remember the year.
Hell, the Elimination Chamber is older than Jovan Evans. In that bitch.
I seen that. That's crazy.
But hey, we wanted to bring you this because we are going to do a live watch party on the channel. It's gonna be me, Green, and it should be my boy Ryan. We're gonna do a watch party on the channel for Elimination Chamber.
Facts.
So if you see this, be ready to tune in Saturday.
Oh God, come join us.
Facts.
Come join us. But anyway, let's get into it. Tree, Green, let's get into it.
Over the years, there have been a variety of different gimmick matches introduced by WWE, some of which have been successful, as was the case with the Royal Rumble, and some of which have not been as successful, as happened when the Kennel from Hell made its one and only appearance back in 1999. Of all the examples which fall into the former category, however, few have been as long-lasting as the Elimination Chamber. Why is that? Well, join us as we take a deep dive into the match's entire story in the entire history of the Elimination Chamber.
I think I'd rather do this chamber now than the first chamber.
When I had steel shit.
And it had real chains and shit. It looked badass, but I know it was going to hurt. Yeah. They had to reorganize that shit.
In that little area outside the ring, I'm like, you can hear it. I'm like, ooh.
It's in late 2002. That was the point where, in the lead up to this year's Survivor Series, WWE was looking for something which could serve as a big selling point for the show. And given the company now owned all the old WCW IP, there would be a number of people behind the scenes, most prominently Triple H, who were pushing Vince McMahon to bring back War Games here. The only problem with that, though, was the double cage multi-man brawl had very much been a Jim Crockett Promotions creation. And so, because it was something which had not been invented by him, the boss did not want to use it.
Do that shit.
Thankfully then, he was willing to listen to compromises in the form of new match types inspired by the concept. Enter the Elimination Chamber, about which would basically serve as WWE's version of War Games for decades thereafter. What made it a new incarnation of this gimmick? Well, like with the famous WCW match, this one would see multiple performers locked inside a cage, with them being brought into the proceedings at timed intervals. Instead of there being two teams here, though, it would be every man for themselves, as 6 men took part, with 2 starting things out, and the other 4 being locked in small chambers next to the ring posts, waiting for the moment that they too would be set free and sent into the fray. The only question left at this point was how would WWE go about introducing the Elimination Chamber on screen? And the answer to that came around on the October 21st, 2002 episode of Raw, as this was the point then general manager of the Red Brand, Eric Bischoff, announced he'd, in kayfabe at least, commissioned the creation of the structure and had booked a match for Survivor Series on November 17th, which would see the top 6 singles performers on the show do battle within it over the World Heavyweight title. Who would those 6 performers be? Well, outside of incoming World Heavyweight Champion Triple H, the ranks of the inaugural bout would also include Booker T, Chris Jericho, Kane, Rob Van Dam, and Shawn Michaels. Yes, it was an all-star lineup, and one which the company hoped would establish this as a major new match type right out of the gate. It really was just a case now of whether or not it would deliver when the time came. And thankfully it would, when after Chris Jericho, Kane, Booker T, and RVD had already been eliminated, Shawn Michaels pinned the game to win the one and only world title of his second WWE run. As you would expect then, given how much fans enjoyed this one, and given how well the show did on pay-per-view, the Elimination Chamber would be brought back again less than a year later, this time at SummerSlam on August 24th, 2003. Who would be in the bout this time around? Well, with it remaining a Raw brand exclusive for the time being, the entrants here would include newcomers to the whole thing, Kevin Nash, Randy Orton, and Bill Goldberg, as well as returning entrants Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. But then with the game once more being World Heavyweight Champion here, as this was right in the middle of his infamous reign of terror, he was always going to be a part of the proceedings. Had things gone the way fans hoped they were going to go, however, he would not have been the one leaving with the belt, as this was very clearly the night where it seemed like an open goal had been set up for WWE to coronate Goldberg as the new top dog on Monday nights. Unfortunately, though, that's not the way things would play out. Though, as we mentioned a moment ago, this was right in the midst of Triple H's reign of terror. So because of that, after Jericho, HBK, Nash, and Orton had all been eliminated, it would be the former who hit an errant sledgehammer shot on the ladder to get the win. Obviously then, given the downer of the ending, this incarnation of the Elimination Chamber would not be quite as successful as the first had been. Still though, even if that was the case, it remained successful enough that Vince McMahon wanted to do more. But now, rather than
I'll say it was still successful because it was a crazy ass
premise
match with a steel cage, steel on steel with pods, and niggas was getting thrown and speared and different shit through the pods. So you know motherfuckers was gonna mess with that.
Facts. Destruction, mayhem.
Should Triple H have won that match? I probably would have went with Goldberg at the time.
Into the third bout, he'd wait over a year before bringing it back at New Year's Revolution on January 9th of 2005. Who would be featured in the chamber this time around? Well, with it once more being a Raw exclusive, Triple H and Chris Jericho would return for a third time, and on top of that, Randy Orton would make his second appearance inside the cage. Outside of this, it would be all about newcomers Edge, Chris Benoit, and the game's stablemate at the time, Dave Bautista. But they wouldn't be the only ones involved here, as for the first time, the Elimination Chamber would include a seventh performer in the form of special guest referee Shawn Michaels, the man who'd be there to count the winning fall and determine who'd be walking out with the vacant World Heavyweight title. So given the talent that was in the bout here, it should come as no surprise to learn that the whole thing was another success, with the main story thread this time around being the furthering of the tension between Batista and Triple H. But even if Big Dave was on the verge of pulling away from Evolution here, he would remain with the stable for long enough to help his leader come out the victor after last pinning Randy Orton. And with this bringing an end to the third edition of the by now fully established bout, it was just a case of wondering when round 4 would arrive. When would that happen? A year later as it happened, because it was at New Year's Revolution on January 8th, 2006 that the chamber was brought out of the mothballs once more. This time so that John Cena could put his WWE title on the line against Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, Kane, Carlito, and Chris Masters. But it's not the showdown between these six men, which everyone remembers about the January 2006 Elimination Chamber today.
See, I know my wrestling. That's when Edge cashed in on his ass.
Got him up out of there.
It's the fact that once it was over and Big Match John was standing tall after last beating Carlito, inaugural Money in the Bank winner Edge would come out to cash in his guaranteed world title shot on the champ, and from there beat him for the gold in less than 2 minutes. Yes, it was the first, and aside from maybe Seth Rollins' cash in at WrestleMania 31, the most famous utilization of the Money in the Bank contract. And with it happening at this show, it instantly elevated it to the level of a classic in the eyes of fans. Sadly though, classic is not a name which could be given to the chamber bout which followed on from here. Why was that? Well, the next one, the one which took place at the lone WWE CW pay-per-view on December 3rd of that same year, entitled December to Dismember, would be the infamous Extreme Elimination Chamber match. That's right, this was the one which was so bad, it directly led to Paul Heyman leaving WWE for a few years, and to the WWE CW concept pretty much dying on the vine, as in a poor attempt to try and recapture the punk rock magic of Extreme Championship Wrestling inside of Vince McMahon
they try to make
ring.
that shit in
WWE
between.
here gave us a version of the chamber
in between with Vince running that shit. Hell no, that shit wasn't gonna hit the same. That shit was real deal violence, nigga, when it was not a part of WWE.
Facts.
That's what made ECW what it was. Extreme Championship Wrestling. Niggas was getting put through fires, tables, barbed wire, nigga.
Beer cans on their head.
Beer cans, like beer bottles.
Accidentally making themselves bleed from crashing beer cans on their head.
Like, nigga, that shit was extreme for real.
Which was made hardcore via the inclusion of a few weapons. Needless to say then, this one was not well received, and not just because of the weak attempts to add some ECW-style violence. No, there was also the fact that a match which was supposed to represent the spirit of that old Philly-based company featured names like Test, The Big Show, Hardcore Holly, and Bobby Lashley. Sure, Rob Van Dam would be there to add a token ECW original to the proceedings, and CM Punk was featured as well, but in contrast to Paul Heyman's original plan of having Punk win the whole thing, in the end, the boss would have the Second City Saint be eliminated first, as the Almighty, the poster boy for everything he saw as a WWE-style star in 2006, walked out the new WWE ECW champion instead. So much of a failure would this be, in fact, Vince McMahon would choose to forego bringing the Elimination Chamber back in 2007, as he felt it needed some time away in order for fans to want it again. When it did come back, however, things would suddenly start going into hyperdrive. Why was this? Well, because at No Way Out on February 7th, 2008, for the first time, 2 chamber bouts would happen on the same evening. One for the Raw brand and one for the SmackDown brand. And that wasn't the only first here. With this show taking place in between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, it was also the first time the winners of the match got guaranteed world title shots at the Showcase of the Immortals.
I remember when
as a result of John Cena using his Royal Rumble win to challenge then WWE Champion Randy Orton at this show, No Way Out 2008 would see Triple H, Jeff Hardy, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, JBL, and Umaga do battle for a shot at the top prize on Raw a month later, all while The Undertaker, Batista, MVP, Finlay, The Great Khali, and Big Daddy V were doing the same for a shot at the top prize on SmackDown.
RP to my
Who
nigga
came out
Visser.
the winners here then? Well, that would be The Game and The Dead Man, with the latter ending up being successful on the grandest stage of them all. That said, while The Undertaker was no doubt happy to have seen the addition of a second chamber match lead to things working out this way for him, the idea that 2 of these bouts could now happen on the same evening created a bit of a problem in the long term, as from here on in, things would start to get a little more watered down. Sure, there would still be good versions of the contest to come, but with it now turning into something which happened on the road to WrestleMania at the same time every year, multiple times on the same evening, it lost some of that initial magic, much in the same way things like Hell in a Cell did when that turned into an annual pay-per-view around the same time.
Yeah.
Hell, by the time the 2009 editions...
Yeah, that Hell in a Cell did start to get a little stale.
It really did.
I feel like Hell in a Cell need to be for like big time feuds, like blood feuds, not just a random ass feud. It got to be a blood feud.
Yeah, you still got the cage match. You can still do a cage match if you want to do that. Just not Hell in a Cell. Like you said, I agree with you. If we done fought so many times the last time, and this time it's Hell in a Cell.
That's perfect.
Now,
blood feuds like Triple H versus Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho. Like them could have ended in a Hell in a Cell.
Facts.
Randy versus Triple H. Randy, John Cena. Stuff like that. Blood feuds. CM Punk, John Cena.
The gimmick came around at No Way Out on February 15th of that year, things were already starting to buckle under the weight of there being too much going on. After all, this was the year where, rather than shots at the main event of WrestleMania being the prize, both world titles were actually on the line. That's right, in one match, we'd get Triple H, The Undertaker, Edge, Jeff Hardy, The Big Show, and Vladimir Kozlov doing battle over the WWE title,
Vladimir.
with The Game ultimately coming out on top.
Forgot about Vladimir,
we'd see Edge return for the second time in the evening to win the World Heavyweight title from Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho, Mike Knox, Kane, and incoming champ John Cena. But even then, that wouldn't be the final form of this new role of the Elimination Chamber going forward. No, this wouldn't be introduced until 2010. What happened here? Well, it was during that year that the No Way Out pay-per-view name got dropped, and the whole thing was instead simply named after the titular bout it had now become associated with.
Facts.
Well, all except for Germany, that was, because with the Evolution Chamber moniker evoking too many similarities to what had happened during World War II, the show would instead be referred to as No Escape here. What chamber bouts were given to fans who arrived at the Scott Trade Center in St. Louis that evening? Well, in the match to decide who was going to challenge for the WWE title at WrestleMania 26, John Cena would end up getting the better of Triple H, Kofi Kingston, Sheamus, Randy Orton, and Ted DiBiase Jr. And in a twist, straight after the match,
They
Vince
be
McMahon
having
would come
some
out
good
and make
names, and then they'd throw in one random, and it just don't hit the same.
That's what Vince won't.
Like Ted DiBiase, that shit kind of was like, eh.
You ain't lying.
The Vladimir Kozlov ad was like, nah.
No, it was exactly because
we was so spoiled to it always been like heavy hitters in the matches.
you ain't fucking lying.
So
After you get used to the heavy hitters, it's like, bro, I ain't saying I don't fuck with you, but I ain't really fuck with you on that level.
yeah. And I rocked with Ted DiBiase when he was with Legacy.
I like Legacy.
impromptu match where Batista would defeat John for the title. Then, of course, there was the SmackDown version of the match, the one which, given the fact that the Royal Rumble winner Edge had already announced he'd be going after the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania, would decide who walked into this event as champion. Here, The Undertaker would enter as top dog, but after doing battle with John Morrison, Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, R-Truth, and Chris Jericho for over 40 minutes, it would be Y2J who came out as the new holder of the big gold
People
belt.
Like R-Truth,
How would the 2011 edition of the now
R-Truth
annual pay-per-view match up to this? Well, by doing more of the same, to be honest. Yes, that year once again saw one of the titular matches be for the World Heavyweight title, all while the other one was for a shot at the WWE title at WrestleMania. And by the time all was said and done with these two contests, Edge would have been able to outlast Rey Mysterio, Kane, Drew McIntyre, The Big Show, and Wade Barrett to regain the top prize on SmackDown, all while elsewhere on the card, John Cena managed to defeat CM Punk, John Morrison, Sheamus, Randy Orton, and R-Truth to book his ticket to WrestleMania. By this point, though, while the match was still largely fun to watch whenever it came around, there was a definite sense that things were growing stale with the Elimination Chamber as the 2010s fully got going. And 2012's edition would be no different, as this was the one where, despite the first contest for the WWE title, which saw incoming champ CM Punk defeat The Miz, Chris Jericho, Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler, and R-Truth being good, and despite the second one for the World Heavyweight title, which saw Daniel Bryan retain against Santino Marella, Wade Barrett, Cody Rhodes, The Big Show, and The Great Khali being entertaining enough, it all just lacked the excitement of some of those earlier editions.
They said that shit was entertaining.
Hell, by now, it wasn't
that
even
one.
a guarantee that one of these bouts would main event the show they were named after, as happened in 2012. And as would also happen again in 2013. Why didn't it main event during the latter year? Well, because 2013 was the year The Rock went out last when he defended his WWE title against CM Punk.
Oh, I thought it was
Obviously
John
then,
Cena.
the lone
Yeah,
chamber
you
bout
did
of
too.
this year, the one which guaranteed the winner a shot at the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 29, and which saw Jack Swagger, of all people, ultimately get the better of Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, Mark Henry, Kane, and Daniel Bryan, just couldn't compete. Really, if WWE were being honest about things here, they would have pulled the Elimination Chamber from the schedule for a while and once again allowed fans to want it. After all, absence does make the heart grow fonder, and at least to some degree, they were clearly aware of how out of steam the match was, as they'd gone with the decision to run with only one chamber bout in 2013 rather than two. Would the same thing happen in 2014? Why, yes it would, as that year, the giant steel structure would house a match for the now unified WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which
Randy
pitted
beat John Cena to unify that shit.
Facts.
That's when they started cooking again.
You ain't lying.
incoming champ Randy Orton against Daniel Bryan, John Cena, Cesaro, Christian, and Sheamus.
Yeah,
Of course, unlike the prior 2 years, however, this match would be the main event of the evening, with the reason for that being that now with there only being one world title again, that belt suddenly felt far more important. And on top of this, there was also the fact we were right at the peak of the Yes movement by now. So if Daniel Bryan was on the card and wasn't going on last, fans were liable to rebel loudly. Even then, though, it still felt like the Elimination Chamber was in desperate need of a refresh. And that was exactly why, in 2015, rather than go with the by then tired old concept of having matches for either a world title or for a shot at the world title at WrestleMania, WWE chose to mix things up with how they presented the concept.
Or was it not?
That's right. By the time we got to the titular pay-per-view on May 31st of this year, the showcase of the Immortals would have already passed. So in the first of two chamber bouts of the evening, it would be the tag team division who took the reins for the first time. And that allowed the New Day, the Primetime Players, the Ascension, the Lucha Dragons, Los Matadores, and Cesaro and Tyson Kidd to put on something of a barn burner, one which gave some much-needed juice to the match type again. As you would expect then, when the New Day came out of this one, the winners and still the WWE Tag Team Champions, they were able to leave the building safe in the knowledge they'd done their job well. Sadly though, the same thing could not be said about the winner of the second chamber match of this show. No, that one would go down in infamy as being, with the exception of the Extreme Elimination Chamber from back in 2006, probably the worst example of the concept. Why was this? Well, because with the vacant Intercontinental title up for grabs, the whole thing completely fell apart early on, despite the ring being filled with very capable wrestlers. Yes, even if Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler, Mark Henry, R-Truth, Wade Barrett, and Ryback were all there, it wasn't enough to stop this from turning into a complete farce after a while. A farce which mercifully ended after, at the 25-minute mark, the big guy last eliminated Sheamus to come out the winner and the new IC champ. What's perhaps more notable about this show, however, is that it was never originally intended to happen. No, the idea up until days before had been for the Elimination Chamber to take a year off here, but when Daniel Bryan had to vacate the IC strap as a result of injury, Vince McMahon decided to use a date he'd booked for a house show and hastily repackage that as a pay-per-view event instead, where he could crown a new champ. Needless to say then, this is something which must have come to the delight of ticket buyers who initially thought they were getting a generic live event, but who ended up getting to see a major show instead. That said, still feeling the idea needed a break, once this one was over, the boss would follow through with his original idea when, in 2016, the Chamber was nowhere to be seen. No, it wouldn't be until 2017 that it returned again, and this time it would indeed feel a little refreshed, as when John Cena put his WWE title up for grabs here against AJ Styles, The Miz, Dean Ambrose, Baron Corbin, and eventual winner of the bout, Bray Wyatt, during the road to WrestleMania. It was probably the highlight of the evening.
But I'm cool
Honestly,
with it,
this was the first time in a long time where it felt like the Elimination Chamber had some juice once more.
Bray needed that win. That was around the time where they wasn't treating him right. He needed that win.
No, you ain't lying.
R.I.P. to my man's Bray.
I remember John Cena. I remember the first thing after that. John Cena, they were chanting, "You deserve it." John Cena was like, "You don't deserve it. You don't deserve anything. You gotta earn it." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And they would have threw me off with that. I know he good on the mic, but that would have threw me off. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I did earn it. I went from Huskus Harris to Bray Wyatt.
Shut your ass up.
This was the first time in a long time where it felt like the Elimination Chamber had some juice once more.
Yep, Fireflies.
Something which was helped by the fact the chamber itself had now been redesigned to allow the performers more space to maneuver. The only question left was, could this momentum carry on to 2018, something WWE hoped would happen as a result of the addition of a women's version of the bout. Yes, 2018 would be the year where it wouldn't just be the men getting involved. No, aside from Roman Reigns earning a Universal title shot at WrestleMania 34 after besting Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, John Cena, The Miz, and Elias, Alexa Bliss would put her Raw Women's Championship up for grabs against Sasha Banks, Bayley, Mickie James, Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose. And after a pretty good bout, which lasted for almost 30 minutes, the Goddess would be able to walk out of this one the winner.
I hated that.
But that wouldn't be the case in 2019. No, in 2019, it wouldn't be any single winner who stood victorious once the titular event was over, as this would be the year it was all about crowning the inaugural Women's Tag Team Champions. Who would be the team that left the Toyota Center in Houston with the gold that night? Well, that would be the Boss and Hug Connection, the duo that managed to outlast not just the Riot Squad, but also the Iconics, Fire and Desire, Carmella and Naomi, and Nia Jax and Tamina. And as you would expect then, this put Sasha Banks and Bayley in the history books for
My baby.
What you gotta say, because you know both of them is your girls, Nia and Tamina.
I love Samoans.
I feel like they did Tamina petty.
Dirty.
Like, I feel like she should have been a world champion at least once or twice.
Tamina.
Because she had the power. She just couldn't. I think it's because she ain't had the charisma.
She definitely didn't have the charisma. I won't lie about that.
But she still could have been a powerhouse, though.
Facts. I saw some of them work.
ever thereafter. So much would this one be a hit, in fact, despite the men also having a great chamber bout in the main event of the show, where Daniel Bryan successfully defended his WWE title against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, and a soon-to-be exploding in popularity Kofi Kingston. They simply couldn't match up to what the ladies had done earlier in the evening. Hell, the women outshining the men would also be what happened in 2020, as that year, in the final WWE PLE before the lockdown, the guys would have a somewhat forgettable SmackDown Tag Team Titles showcase inside of the chamber, one which saw The Miz and Morrison beat The New Day, The Usos, Heavy Machinery, Lucha House Party, and the Dirty Dogs, all while elsewhere, the women were main eventing the show in what should have been a star-making performance from Shayna Baszler. Why was that? Well, this would be the match in which the Queen of Spades absolutely murked her competition of Natalya, Liv Morgan, Asuka, Ruby Riott, and Sarah Logan in short order to book her shot at Becky Lynch and her Raw Women's title at WrestleMania 36. As we all know now, though, that show would be a letdown, in part because it took place in front of no fans, a fate which also befell the 2021 edition of Elimination Chamber. Sure, there was the giant Zoom call of the Thunderdome there by then, but this did little to make the two chamber bouts, the first of which saw Daniel Bryan earn an immediate Universal title match against Roman Reigns after outlasting Cesaro, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Baron Corbin, and the second of which saw Drew McIntyre retain his WWE title against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton, and Sheamus feel any more exciting. No, it wouldn't be until 2022 that some life was added back into the concept again, as now, with fans in attendance once more, Bianca Belair's victory over Alexa Bliss, Doudrop, Liv Morgan, Nikki ASH, and Rhea Ripley.
I hated that they called Piper Niven's Doudrop. I hated that fucking name, bro. I hated when Vince started changing people's names.
Bearcat.
Like, you did not have to change her name to no fucking Doudrop. I think it just was doing
Shorty
shit, bro.
G.
Shorty G.
Bearcat.
Keith Lee. Why did y'all take Limitless from him?
Weird shit.
To earn herself a shot at the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania 38, and Brock Lesnar beating Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Austin Theory, Matt Riddle, and Seth Rollins to win the WWE title.
Imagine
and some
give
much
us
needed
a
atmosphere
Brock
involved.
Lesnar and the rest
Would
of
this atmosphere still be there in 2023? Yes, it would. As with Triple H,
he just
by this
dominated,
point,
and they let this nigga eliminate everybody. I'm like, y'all doing that shit on purpose.
During Black History.
Hey, you know what they say? If it's a black champion somewhere, Brock is somewhere lurking.
largely booking the show, Montreal was treated to two pretty good chamber matches, one of which saw Asuka earn a Raw Women's title shot at WrestleMania 39 after beating Carmella, Liv Morgan, Natalya, Nikki Cross, and Raquel Rodriguez, and the other of which saw Austin Theory successfully defend his United States title against Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, Montez Ford, and Seth Rollins. Hell, 2024 would keep the vibes high too, when in front of a packed crowd in Perth, Australia, Becky Lynch and Drew McIntyre both earned world title shots at WrestleMania 40 after the former got the better of Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Naomi, Raquel Rodriguez, and Tiffany Stratton, and the latter beat Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, LA Knight, Logan Paul, and Randy Orton. Of course, that was nothing compared to the 2025 Elimination Chamber show, though. And the reason for that is because this was the one where Bianca Belair earned a women's world title shot at WrestleMania 41 after beating Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Liv Morgan, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez. Then, more importantly than this, after getting the better of CM Punk, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, and Seth Rollins to book his ticket to Cody Rhodes at the same show, John Cena would do the unthinkable by turning heel. Yes, well, the heel run which followed would ultimately disappoint. The moment of the turn itself remains a historical one for WWE.
Didn't really do shit.
It didn't. His heel turn should have been better. It should have been better, a lot better, man.
More thought out.
They did that shit for straight shock value. Because it led to nothing. The Rock wasn't at WrestleMania. Only person who was there was Travis Scott. So it didn't go. It literally served no purpose.
You just there to get your receipt. That's really why Travis Scott was there.
And his heel run was ass.
Yes.
They tried to do the whole Tommaso Ciampa don't come out to no music. That shit didn't work for him. He should have just came out to his Dr. Thugonomics music, and it might have been a better heel turn.
Word light. This is best economics.
That means the upcoming 2026
still
edition
wearing
of the show
Rise
has a
Above the
lot to
Hate
live
shit.
up to. Will it be able to do so?
He ain't go full
Guess
heel.
we'll have to wait
He's
and
half
see.
in, half out.
One thing which seems to be guaranteed either
Tiffany
way at
trying
this
to stay
point,
having a
however, is
fucking
that,
wardrobe
given how
malfunction.
firmly rooted it is in the company now, the Elimination
small.
Chamber is going to be around for a long time, and during this time, it will continue to be one of the promotion's biggest matches,
True.
alongside things like Hell in a Cell and the Royal Rumble.
Nah, it's hard.
Yeah.
That was hard. Shout out to that because they was going in. Let's change. Even the ones that weren't good, they was trying. Oh man, even when they weren't good, they were trying.
Facts. Prediction. Who wins the chambers? I got, for the women's, I want to see Raquel win, but I feel like they going Rhea versus... Rhea gonna win. It'll be her versus Jade at WrestleMania. And for the men's side, I see Cody or Randy.
If Cody win, I need him to turn heel. So
Facts. Because the writing on the wall is Cody, Drew, Jacob for the fucking triple threat at WrestleMania. That's the writings on the wall. They could throw Randy in there too because Randy got beef with Drew. So it could be a fatal four-way. But I feel like then that mean the chamber was for nothing. I'm gonna be real with you.
damn, I didn't think about it like that. You're right.
If it's not a one-on-one, I feel like the chamber's for nothing. But then again, they did the same thing with Io, Rhea, and Bianca. Niggas won the match and Rhea still got added to the match. So I mean, it can still work.
Yeah, you're right. They was like, anyway, Rhea's gonna be a part of the match. I'd have been heated low key in the back.
Yeah, so I mean, that's my prediction though. I'll give more we probably do a little prediction before the shit start if niggas come on time. Saturday, we'd give you a full prediction. Oh yeah,
Today's Friday.
yeah, this probably won't be out today.
Yeah.
So it'll be out tomorrow.
It'll be out tomorrow.
It'll be out before this, so it'll be out before Elimination Chamber. So like I said, we'll give a prediction for y'all as long as niggas make it on time.
Facts.
Even if it's just me and Green.
Facts. But anyway, man, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know we post, because we post 2 to 3 videos every day, sometimes even 4.
This the first Wrestle with Andy on the channel, so I give it a playlist. I don't know if we're gonna do any more Wrestle with Andy on this channel or if we're gonna keep it on MB Reacts channel, but we'll see. We gotta play around with it.
MBU Tree, come like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know we post, because he posts 2 to 3 videos every day, sometimes even 4. You can check all his playlists right here at MBU Tree. Check out playlists like
I got XG, BTS. I got basketball highlights, college basketball hoops.
I want to name other stuff. That's why I had
The Roundtable Game Show. I got Ray, Asian Boy content. Ben the Don.
a lot of streaming
It's
content.
a lot of stuff over here. I am a variety reactor, as I say.
I'm a variety. But let Disney cut that check. Let Disney hit that inbox. Talk about something. We need you to review strictly Disney content. Guess what? MBU Disney. We gonna make another channel, but this channel be MBU Disney. They talking about $50K a month. Hey, look, MBU Disney. That's what's gonna be new. We gonna change the chat to MBU Disney. Hey, niggas gonna come back. Hey, what happened? We're on to bigger and better things. But anyway, man, come back to MBU, like and subscribe. He on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Please get him there. And we'll go above and beyond after that. But anyway, this is Tree. I'm Green the guest, and he'll be back with more reactions. We'll holler at y'all later, man. Peace.